On the face of it, the techniques you're about to hear about should have worked, but they didn't. A possible testament to the scrutiny of border security forces. So while they're ingenious, that genius is constrained by the limitations of a smuggler's brain. Nonetheless, you'll be amazed by these 15 rather creatively crafty techniques.
Amazing!
Number 15. Hidden in screws. Authorities with the Federal Public Revenue Administration of Argentina found cocaine concealed in tiny screws carried by a Peruvian man flying from Buenos Aires to South Africa. In total, the smuggler had 20 grams of cocaine hidden among the screws and other items on his person. Number 14. Anal lube steroids. Containing drugs in plain sight can sometimes be a deceitfully clever option. To the untrained eye, these lube containers do exactly what they claim to do, but to the trained security agent, they're the perfect container for contraband like liquid steroids. The 150 bottles of banned liquid steroids, disguised as sex lubricant, were seized by customs officials from Thailand. Number 13. Fake kidney beans. Seized by DEA special agents in El Paso, Texas, 4,972 kidney beans that had a net mass of just over a kilo contained a fine tan powder, that of suspected heroin. A few genuine beans of a much lighter colour were mixed in with the fakes. The beans were actually small plastic packets that had been painted to resemble kidney beans. It's actually pretty ingenious and represents a significant increase in manufacturing sophistication, and the amount of effort gone into making these must have been phenomenal. Number 12. Tunnels. So if airport security is too difficult to pass, then how about going underground? Well, that's exactly what was working for smugglers, until the entrance of this tunnel was found underneath a bathroom sink inside a warehouse in a bordering Mexican town in 2012. The 600-yard tunnel, which passed into California, was even lit and ventilated. Jeez, I wonder how the warehouse owners managed to dig themselves out of that one. While it may seem like an insanely crazy and desperate plot, it's not actually that uncommon. In fact, over 125 have been discovered since the 1990s, and as they're tough to find, special US border tunnel task forces are dedicated to tracking them down. Number 11. Hollowed out bananas. As these kind of imports are rather unsuspecting, on countless occasions criminals have utilised them to slip drugs past the eyes of security. However, that's only if they're not an obvious fake. One fruit wholesaler working for Colombian drug cartels stored more than 100 kilo of high-grade cocaine worth £24 million in these rather green fake bananas in his warehouse. Number 10. Cannons. Border fences are really tall, so it's not like you can just indiscreetly throw your packages of marijuana over them. What you need is a gigantic weed gun. This one was reportedly confiscated by police in Mexicali, a bordering town between Mexico and California, and uses a powerful compressed air cannon to launch packages of weed over the border. It could launch up to 13 kilograms of drugs over the fence at a time. If you think the concept is good, but having one mounted on the back of a truck is a bit too obvious, then you're not alone. T-shirt cannons have also been used to shoot canisters filled with marijuana over the border. If you've seen our video on things falling from the sky, then these may have managed to launch rank number 5. Number 9. Dissolved indoors. Likely to be one of the most ingenious methods, the plan was simple. Soak plywood doors to the core in liquid cocaine so that when they dried, the cocaine would be nearly impossible to spot. The doors would then be effortlessly shipped from Panama to the UK, where they would be shaved with cheese graters so that the shavings could be mixed with industrial solvent. It's easy to see that this extraction method would have worked, although one caught culprit was under surveillance. In another similar instance, smugglers were caught having compressed cocaine into shipping pallets. Number 8. Catapults. Similar to the cannon, but more medieval, meaning that you'd have to be positioned a little more obviously close to the border. A number of weed firing machines have been discovered at Mexican borders throughout the years. They seem pretty beefy, so make sure to stay away from the border, because being hit by a few pounds of anything surely has to hurt. That is, unless you're Seth Rogen, in which case you'd probably welcome the weedy onslaught. Number 7. Ultralight aircraft. The bigger drug lords are known to use private jets and normal light aircraft to courier their special cargo. But when you're a smaller operation, screw it. Even a modded, zooped up ultralight will do. The craft are relatively inexpensive and easy to pilot compared to conventional aircraft. Smugglers tend to fly the weed-floored vehicles in the dark, using night vision goggles. With black painted wings and the ability to fly low to the ground, the quick little craft are able to evade detection by peering eyes and radar alike. In 2011, the LA Times reported 228 incursions, according to border authorities, which actually seems like a rather small amount. Number 6. Hidden in candy. Something about dozens of individually wrapped chocolate bars in the luggage of a man flying from California to Japan struck the Federal Customs and Border Protection officers as odd. Sure enough, when unwrapped, they turned out to be more than 4 pounds of methamphetamine covered by a chocolate-like substance. Hiding drugs in food isn't uncommon though. Custom officers have found drugs disguised as cream filling in cookies, in bags of coffee, bottles of rum, and stuffed inside bricks of frozen meat, among other places. Number 5. Inside a wheelchair. You'd want to conceal drugs in things that don't alert suspicion. For example, a fricking wheelchair. Because obviously being handicapped means you can't skip all of the normal checks, right? Wrong. As one 19-year-old man realised when he was caught in 2011 with this weed-stocked wheelchair. Number 4. Plaster cast. Another empathy-exploiting scheme, this time pursued by a 66-year-old Chilean man who was arrested by airport authorities in Barcelona after they discovered that the cast on his fractured left leg was made out of cocaine. Police also said the man may have intentionally fractured his left leg to make the use of the cocaine cast real. Now that's dedication to one's work. Number 3. Carpets. A rather harmless product with a vast surface area to soak in. Surely carpets make great smuggling items. Well, one cannabis smuggling gang proved this hypothesis wrong when they were caught shipping £20 million worth of a Class B drug into Britain in rolled up carpets. Turns out, trained dogs can still smell the drugs. Number 2. An ambulance. A supposed ambulance company was set up in Holland for running a drug smuggling operation, which involved men posing as paramedics and using bogus patients to make their cover more authentic. Parcels of drugs were hidden in cupboards on board the ambulance. Surely the home of Amsterdam doesn't need more drugs. Number 1. Submarines. Taking to the sea, narco submarines, also called drug subs, are especially known to be used by Colombian drug cartel members to export cocaine from Colombia to Mexico, which is often then transported overland to the United States. They replaced go-fast boats as they can't be detected by radar. They're pretty ideal for smugglers because if they're caught, all the contraband can simply be dropped to the bottom of the ocean, leaving no evidence of trafficking. If you thought just using a submarine was crazy enough, then get this. They're typically constructed way out of sight of police, in vast jungles, laced with mangrove-fingered coves, along Colombia's Pacific coastline. It's crazy to think how far smugglers go, considering that it would be a logistical nightmare to take all of the material and heavy equipment required to make these subs into the heart of the jungle. Smugglers are clearly getting more creative by the day. So, which technique do you think is the most creative? Thanks for watching, and subscribe to be amazed.